Life is not meant to be lived on autopilot, drifting from one day to the next without purpose. It is meant to be an epic journey, a story worth telling, a masterpiece carved by your choices, actions, and resilience. To lead your life like a legend, you must first believe that your life has the potential to be extraordinary. Legends are not born from comfort zones. They are created through courage, vision, and relentless determination. Every great figure in history began as an ordinary person, facing challenges, doubts, and failures. What made them legendary was their decision to rise above those moments, to keep moving forward when quitting seemed easier, and to create a life that would inspire others long after they were gone. You must live with a vision so clear that it fuels your every step. Wake up each day knowing you are the author of your story, and that every choice you make is shaping the chapters ahead. Do not waste your energy on distractions or on pleasing those who doubt your abilities. Instead, focus on building yourself into the person you would admire if you read your life story in a book. Make your decisions with courage, knowing that fear is only a sign that you are moving toward growth. The moments that scare you the most often hold the greatest opportunities for transformation. Legends are not afraid to fail because they understand that failure is not the end. It is a stepping stone. Each setback is simply a lesson that shapes you into someone stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Every time you rise after a fall, you prove to yourself and to the world that nothing can break your spirit. People may doubt you, but they cannot define you. Only you decide how far you will go. The truth is, leading your life like a legend is not about fame, applause, or recognition. It is about living so boldly and authentically that your actions inspire others to rise in their own lives. It is about choosing integrity over convenience, growth over comfort, and purpose over aimlessness. It is about becoming a force that moves through the world, leaving a trail of hope, strength, and courage. Your life is happening now, not someday in the future. The clock is ticking, and each moment is a chance to make a move that counts. Do not wait for perfect conditions, because they will never come. The legends of history did not wait. They acted with what they had, where they were, and they shaped their destiny through persistence. You have within you the same power, the same fire, and the same capacity to turn your life into something unforgettable. When the storms come, and they will, stand firm. When doubt whispers that you cannot make it, speak louder with action. When the path feels too hard, remind yourself that the hardest climbs lead to the most breathtaking views. Lead your life with courage, with conviction, and with the unshakable belief that you were born to do more than just exist. You were born to live a life so full of purpose, passion, and impact that it becomes a story worth telling for generations. Do not let your story be one of hesitation and regret. Let it be one of relentless pursuit, fearless choices, and unstoppable growth. Lead your life like a legend, not because the world demands it, but because your soul deserves nothing less. Every day you wake up, you have a choice to live as a spectator in your own life or to rise as the hero of your own story. Choose to rise. Choose to lead. Choose to be legendary. Extraordinary lives are not the product of easy paths, perfect circumstances, or endless comfort. They are forged in the fires of challenge, uncertainty, and risk. Courage, vision, and relentless determination are the raw materials that shape a life worth remembering. Comfort may offer safety, but it rarely offers growth. In comfort, you may feel secure, but you will never truly discover the limits of your potential. It is only when you step into the unknown, into spaces where the outcome is uncertain and the risks are real, that you begin to tap into the depth of who you can become. Courage is the spark that pushes you to take the first step toward that unknown, even when fear tells you to stay where you are. It is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to move forward in spite of it. Without courage, dreams remain locked in your mind, never given the chance to take form in reality. Vision is the map that guides you on your journey. It allows you to see beyond where you are right now and to imagine a future that is brighter, bolder, and more impactful than your present. A person with vision doesn't live by default. They live by design. They know where they are going, And even when the road twists and turns, they keep their eyes fixed on that greater picture. Vision gives you direction when the path feels unclear, reminding you why you began in the first place. It allows you to endure challenges because you understand that every difficulty is part of a bigger story you are writing with your life. Without vision, it is easy to get lost, distracted, or discouraged. But with vision, even the hardest seasons become stepping stones towards something greater. Relentless determination is what transforms courage and vision into reality. Many people start strong, but only those with unwavering persistence finish the race. Determination means showing up when you are tired, pushing forward when no one is cheering you on, and refusing to quit even when progress is painfully slow. It is the quiet, daily commitment to keep going, no matter what. While others may give up after the first obstacle, the determined person sees every setback as a lesson and every failure as feedback. They do not measure success only by immediate results, but by their ability to keep moving forward despite the odds. Determination is what turns a dream into a tangible achievement. Comfort, on the other hand, is seductive. It whispers that you have done enough, that you deserve to rest before the journey is complete. It lulls you into a state of complacency, where the urgency to grow fades and the hunger to achieve dulls. Comfort zones are warm, but they are also traps. They keep you from taking the risks that could change your life. They protect you from failure, yes, but they also protect you from success. No one becomes extraordinary by staying safe, avoiding challenges, or refusing to change. Every legendary story, every monumental achievement, began with someone stepping outside of what was familiar and comfortable. Courage challenges comfort. It pushes you into arenas you have never stepped into before. Vision pulls you toward a future you have not yet touched, but can already see in your mind. Determination keeps you fighting for that vision when reality tries to push you back into safety. Together, these three qualities form the foundation of a life that others will remember long after you are gone. Without them, you risk becoming a passenger in your own life, drifting wherever the current of circumstances takes you. With them, you become the captain of your destiny, steering your life toward the extraordinary. Living an extraordinary life requires that you embrace discomfort as part of the process. You must be willing to face rejection, to risk failure, and to walk roads that others avoid. You will be tested, not once, but over and over. People may doubt you, and some may even try to discourage you. You will encounter obstacles that seem too large to overcome. In those moments, your comfort zone will call out to you, tempting you to retreat. But if you can hold on to your courage, stay focused on your vision, and refuse to let go of your determination, you will push through. You must remember that courage is not something you use only once. It is something you practice daily. Vision is not a single image. It evolves as you grow, expanding as you realize more of your potential. Determination is not a burst of energy. It is a steady flame that you protect and feed every day. These qualities will not always feel glamorous. Some days, courage will mean simply showing up when you feel like hiding. Vision will mean holding on to hope when you cannot see progress. Determination will mean putting in the work even when no one is watching. When you look at the lives of those who have achieved greatness, whether in art, science, business, sports, or service, you will find the same story told in different ways. They faced challenges that could have stopped them, but they pressed on. They saw something in their minds before it existed in the world, and they pursued it with everything they had. They refused to settle for what was easy or guaranteed. They understood that extraordinary lives are not stumbled upon by accident. They are built day by day through courageous decisions, a clear vision, and an unshakable commitment to keep going. Your life has that same potential. The extraordinary is not reserved for a chosen few. It is available to anyone willing to leave comfort behind and embrace the path of growth. But it is a choice. Every day you decide whether to move toward your vision or stay in the safety of the familiar. If you choose courage over fear, vision over distraction, and determination over quitting, you will not only change your own life, you will inspire others to believe they can change theirs too. And that is how extraordinary lives are built. They are not born in comfort. They are forged in the moments when you dare to do more, risk more, and become more than you ever thought possible. You are the author of your story, and with every choice you make, you are writing the sentences, paragraphs, and chapters that will one day become your legacy. Life is not a script handed to you with every scene already planned. It is an unwritten book, and you hold the pen. This means you have the power to decide not only how your story unfolds, but also how it will be remembered long after you are gone. Every decision, no matter how small it seems, contributes to the bigger picture. The way you treat people, the risks you take, the values you live by, the battles you choose to fight, and the moments you choose to walk away from. All of it becomes part of the narrative that defines who you are. When you understand this truth, you begin to see each day differently. Every morning is a blank page, offering you the chance to create something meaningful. The problem is, many people live as though they are side characters in their own lives, waiting for circumstances or other people to dictate what happens next. But you are not a passenger, you are the driver. The life you will one day look back on will not be shaped by luck alone, but by the deliberate decisions you make, even when those decisions are hard. A legacy is not built in one grand gesture or a single life-changing moment. It is crafted over years of consistent choices. It is shaped in the way you handle both victories and defeats, in the way you show kindness when it is inconvenient, in the way you stand for what is right when it is unpopular. Some choices will seem small and insignificant in the moment, yet their impact will ripple far beyond what you can see. You might think holding the door for someone, speaking encouragement into a friend's life, or persevering through a tough season won't matter in the long run. But it does. It all adds to the story of who you are and how you lived. There will be times when you face choices that are heavy with consequences. In those moments, the temptation to take the easy way out will be strong. But remember, easy choices rarely lead to legendary stories. The characters in history and fiction we admire most are those who faced great odds and chose courage over fear, integrity over compromise, and perseverance over surrender. Those choices are the ink that writes powerful stories. They are what make people look back and say, that person lived with purpose. Being the author of your story also means taking ownership of your mistakes. No great story is free from conflict or failure. You will make decisions you regret, and you will face seasons when your life feels like it's unraveling. But here's the beauty of authorship. You can always rewrite the next chapter. You cannot change the pages already written, but you can decide what comes next. That is the power you have every single day. The past is part of your story, but it does not have to define the ending. What matters most is not the mistakes you've made, but the way you rise from them and use them as lessons to create a better future. If you were to imagine your life as a book on a shelf, how would you want someone to feel when they finished reading it? Would you want them to be inspired, challenged, and encouraged? Would you want them to see a story of resilience, love, and courage? Or would you want them to see a story of missed opportunities and unfulfilled dreams? The way you live today determines that answer. Every action, every word, every decision. These are the lines in your story that others will one day read. You are not just writing for yourself. You are writing for the people whose lives you touch. Your story will influence others in ways you may never fully realize. A single choice you make could inspire someone else to take a leap of faith in their own life. A single act of integrity could plant the seed of courage in someone who has been afraid to stand for what's right. Your life will echo into the lives of others, shaping how they write their own stories. That is the power of your legacy. Some people think legacy is only for the rich, famous, or historically significant. That is not true. Legacy is for everyone. It is not about being remembered by the whole world. It is about being remembered by the people whose lives you have touched. It is about leaving behind something worth carrying forward, whether that's your values, your work, your kindness, or your example. When you make decisions with that in mind, You stop living for short-term comfort and start living for long-term impact. Being intentional about your story requires self-awareness. You must ask yourself, am I living in alignment with my values? Am I making decisions I will be proud of years from now? Am I investing my time and energy into things that matter? Or am I letting distractions steal my focus? Writing a meaningful story requires clarity about what matters most to you. Without that clarity, you risk filling your book with chapters that don't reflect who you truly are or what you want to be remembered for. Ultimately, your life story will be told one way or another. The question is, will it be a story you consciously created or one that simply happened to you? Will it be a story of someone who dared, who tried, who loved deeply, who stood tall even in the storms? Or will it be the story of someone who let fear, doubt, or complacency take the pen? You have the power to decide, and that power is exercised in every choice you make, big or small. So hold the pen firmly. Write each day with intention. Choose actions and words that align with the story you want to tell. And remember, you do not need to wait for a perfect moment to begin shaping your legacy. The perfect moment is now. Every decision is a brushstroke on the canvas of your life, and one day, when the final page is turned, the world will see the picture you have created. Make it a story worth reading. Make it a story worth remembering. Failure is often seen as the end of the road, a sign that something is over and that you are not capable enough to succeed. But in reality, failure is not the end. It is a powerful stepping stone towards strength, wisdom, and resilience. Every great success story in history has chapters filled with mistakes, setbacks, and moments of defeat. The difference between those who go on to achieve greatness and those who give up lies in how they respond to failure. Some see it as a final verdict, while others see it as an opportunity to learn, adapt, and grow. Failure is never pleasant, but it is always valuable when you choose to extract the lessons it offers. Strength is built in the moments when you have every reason to quit, but choose to keep going. When you fail, you face a choice to give in to discouragement or to rise and try again. Every time you choose to stand back up, you build a deeper inner strength that cannot be developed in comfort or success alone. Success can make you feel confident, but it is failure that teaches you how strong you truly are. You do not discover your resilience when everything is going well. You discover it when everything is falling apart, and you still find the courage to move forward. Wisdom comes from reflection, and failure provides some of the most valuable lessons you will ever receive. Every setback is feedback. It shows you what works and what doesn't, where you need to improve, and what you need to let go of. Sometimes failure reveals that your timing was off, that your approach was flawed, or that your goals need refining. These insights are not available to those who never try, because the act of attempting something, regardless of the outcome, opens the door to understanding. The key is to approach failure with curiosity rather than shame. Instead of asking, "Why did I fail?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" This shift in perspective transforms failure from an enemy into a teacher. Resilience is the ability to keep going despite difficulties, and failure is one of its greatest trainers. The more you face challenges and survive them, the more confident you become in your ability to handle whatever comes next. Each failure adds another layer to your resilience, making you less afraid of risk and more prepared for future obstacles. Resilient people are not immune to disappointment. They feel it like everyone else, but they refuse to let it stop them. They understand that every setback is temporary, and that persistence will eventually lead them where they need to go. In many ways, failure is a gift disguised as a loss. It strips away illusions and forces you to confront reality. It humbles you, making you more empathetic toward others who struggle. It strengthens your character by teaching you patience, discipline, and the value of hard work. It challenges your ego and reminds you that growth is a lifelong process. Without failure, success would be shallow and fleeting, because you would not have developed the depth of character needed to sustain it. Consider the stories of inventors, artists, athletes, and leaders who are celebrated today. Thomas Edison famously said He didn't fail thousands of times when inventing the light bulb. He simply found thousands of ways that didn't work. Each failure was a necessary step toward his breakthrough. Athletes lose games before they win championships. Writers face rejections before publishing bestsellers. Entrepreneurs experience failed ventures before building successful companies. These examples show that failure is not a detour from the path to success. It is part of the path itself. The fear of failure often stops people before they even begin. But avoiding failure means avoiding growth. You cannot reach your full potential by playing it safe and only doing what you know you can succeed at. Growth requires risk, and risk always carries the possibility of failure. The sooner you accept failure as a natural part of progress, the sooner you will free yourself to aim higher and push further. One of the most important things to remember is that failure does not define you. Your response to it does. You are not your mistakes. You are not the missed opportunity, the bad decision, or the unsuccessful attempt. You are the person who learns from those experiences, adapts, and tries again. The people who accomplish great things are not those who never fail. They are those who refuse to let failure have the final word. To make failure a true stepping stone, you must adopt a mindset of persistence and self-compassion. Persistence ensures you keep moving, while self-compassion prevents you from drowning in self-criticism. Be honest about what went wrong, take responsibility where needed, and then let go of the guilt so you can focus on the next step. Every time you fail, ask yourself what you would do differently next time, and then act on that insight. Failure also shapes the way you inspire others. When people see that you have faced setbacks and still managed to rise, they are encouraged to believe they can do the same. Your scars become proof that it is possible to survive hardship and still create something beautiful out of your life. The lessons you learn from failure are not just for you. They can be passed on to others, multiplying their impact. In the end, failure is simply part of the process of becoming the person you are meant to be. It breaks you in certain ways, but it also rebuilds you stronger, wiser, and more resilient than before. The road to success is not a straight line. It is a series of climbs and falls, victories and defeats. The falls teach you how to climb better, and the defeats teach you how to win with greater skill and humility. So do not run from failure. Welcome it as an essential part of your journey. Use it to sharpen your skills, deepen your understanding, and strengthen your resolve. Let it remind you that you are capable of far more than you realize, and that the only true failure is giving up. Every setback is a stepping stone, one that, if you keep moving forward, will lead you to the strength, wisdom, and resilience you need to live a life of purpose and impact. True greatness is not measured by fame, wealth, or the number of accolades a person collects. It is measured by the depth of their character, the honesty of their intentions, and the positive impact they have on others. It comes from living authentically, holding firmly to integrity, and inspiring people through the way you act, rather than just the words you speak. The world is full of individuals who have achieved recognition without substance, but those who are remembered for generations are the ones who lived with truth in their hearts and purpose in their actions. Authenticity is the foundation of true greatness. To be authentic is to live in alignment with your values, beliefs, and true self, rather than pretending to be someone you're not in order to gain approval or fit in. It means embracing your strengths, acknowledging your weaknesses, and refusing to compromise who you are for the sake of image. People are naturally drawn to authenticity because it is rare in a world filled with masks and pretenses. When you are authentic, you give others permission to do the same. Your confidence comes not from trying to be perfect, but from being real. You don't need to impress everyone. You only need to live in a way that reflects your truth. Integrity is the moral compass that keeps greatness from becoming corrupted. It is doing the right thing even when no one is watching, and even when it costs you something. Integrity requires consistency between your words and actions, a steadfast commitment to honesty, and the courage to stand for what is right regardless of the circumstances. Without integrity, Achievements are hollow and reputations are fragile. People may admire your success for a time, but without integrity, it will eventually crumble. With it, however, you build trust that can withstand any challenge. Integrity creates a legacy that speaks louder than titles, positions, or possessions. It is the quiet force that gives weight to your actions and credibility to your influence. Inspiring others through your actions is where authenticity and integrity meet impact. It is not about trying to impress people. It is about living in such a way that your example becomes a source of encouragement, motivation, and hope for others. When people see you working hard, staying true to your principles, and treating others with respect, they begin to believe they can do the same. Actions carry a power that words alone cannot match. You may give 1,000 speeches, but it is the way you live your life that people will truly remember. Greatness that comes from authenticity, integrity, and inspiration is accessible to anyone, no matter their profession, background, or circumstances. You don't need a grand stage or a famous name to make a difference. A teacher who shows up every day with passion and dedication, a parent who raises children with love and discipline, a leader who puts the well-being of their team above personal gain. All of these are examples of greatness in action. It is not the size of your platform that matters, but the size of your commitment to living in a way that uplifts others. Living authentically requires self-awareness and courage. It means rejecting the temptation to mold yourself into whatever society says you should be. It also means accepting that not everyone will understand or agree with you. But that is the price of living truthfully. You will lose some approval, but you will gain peace and self-respect. Authenticity allows you to wake up each day knowing you are not pretending to be someone else, and that freedom is priceless. Practicing integrity often demands sacrifice. You may lose opportunities because you refuse to cut corners or compromise your values. You may face criticism for standing up against what is wrong. But over time, integrity builds a foundation of trust and respect that no shortcut could ever achieve. It makes you reliable, dependable, and honorable in the eyes of others. And most importantly, it allows you to respect yourself when you look in the mirror. Inspiring others through action is often unplanned. You simply live your values, and people notice. It could be the way you persevere through adversity, the way you treat others with kindness regardless of their status, or the way you hold yourself accountable when you make mistakes. These moments may seem small to you, but to someone else, they could be life-changing. You never truly know who is watching and learning from your example. That is why greatness requires consistency. You must strive to live in a way that reflects your best self, not just in public, but in private too. True greatness also means understanding that your actions can create a ripple effect. A single act of integrity can inspire someone else to act with honesty. A single act of kindness can encourage someone else to show compassion. Over time, these ripples grow into waves, impacting far more people than you could ever meet personally. That is how legacies are built, through small, consistent choices that, when added together, leave a lasting mark on the world. In a culture obsessed with appearance, it is easy to confuse popularity for greatness. But popularity is temporary. It fades with trends, opinions, and circumstances. Greatness built on authenticity, integrity, and inspiration endures because it is rooted in something real. It does not need constant validation because it is not dependent on external approval. It comes from knowing that you are living your truth, doing what is right, and lifting others along the way. Every person has the ability to pursue this kind of greatness, but it requires commitment. It requires you to hold yourself to a high standard, even when no one is watching. It requires you to choose honesty over convenience and principle over popularity. It requires you to live in a way that your actions could serve as a guide for someone else who is searching for direction. When you reach the end of your life, what will matter most will not be the possessions you owned or the titles you held. It will be the integrity you maintained, the authenticity you lived by, and the inspiration you gave to others. That is what people will remember. That is the kind of greatness that never fades. Live in such a way that when people speak your name, they think of honesty, courage, kindness, and purpose. Live so that your example speaks louder than any words you could ever say. That is true greatness. The right time to act is now, because the illusion of perfect conditions is one of the most common and dangerous traps that keeps people from moving forward. Many dreams remain unrealized not because they are impossible, but because the people who hold them keep waiting for that magical moment when everything will align. The right resources, the right mood, the right support, the right opportunity. The truth is, that moment rarely comes. Life will always be messy, unpredictable, and filled with obstacles. If you wait until every detail is in place, you will wait forever. Action is what creates opportunities, not the other way around. Perfection is a myth when it comes to timing. There will always be reasons to delay: a lack of money, lack of knowledge, fear of failure, uncertainty about the outcome. But these reasons are not signals to pause indefinitely. They are challenges that can only be solved once you start. People often think they need more confidence before taking action, but in reality, confidence is built through action. The longer you wait, the more doubt grows, and the harder it becomes to start. The moment you take the first step, you begin to generate momentum, and momentum is far more valuable than waiting for an ideal scenario. The idea of someday is one of the most dangerous lies we tell ourselves. We say, someday I'll start that business, someday I'll write that book, or someday I'll change my life. But someday is not a date on the calendar. It is an excuse to avoid the discomfort of starting now. Weeks turn into months, months into years, and before you realize it, the time you thought you had has slipped away. The people who achieve extraordinary things are not the ones who wait until they feel ready. They are the ones who act despite uncertainty, trusting that they will figure things out along the way. Acting now doesn't mean acting recklessly. It means starting with what you have, where you are, and making adjustments as you go. You don't need to see the entire staircase to take the first step. Waiting for perfect clarity before moving forward is like waiting for every traffic light to turn green before you leave home. It's simply not realistic. Conditions often become clearer and more favorable after you have already begun. Opportunities appear, resources emerge, and ideas take shape once you are in motion. Fear is often the biggest reason people hesitate. We think that if we wait longer, we'll feel less afraid. But fear does not disappear with time. It disappears with action. The more you step into the unknown, the more you realize that most fears are exaggerated and that you are more capable than you believed. Fear loses its grip when you prove to yourself through action that you can handle uncertainty. If you let fear dictate your timing, it will control your entire life. Another danger of waiting for perfect conditions is that life can change unexpectedly. Opportunities are often fleeting, and if you don't act when they present themselves, they may not come again. You may think you can delay a decision for a year or two, but circumstances, health, relationships, or market conditions could shift, making it harder or even impossible to pursue your goal later. Taking action now does not guarantee success, but it guarantees that you won't look back with regret, wondering what could have been if you had just started. When you act now, you give yourself the gift of time. Even if you make mistakes, you have time to correct them. Even if your first attempt fails, you have time to try again. Starting sooner gives you more opportunities to learn, adapt, and grow. Every step you take now compounds over time, creating results that would have been impossible if you had delayed. It is important to remember that action breeds clarity. You might feel uncertain about your exact direction, but the process of moving forward will reveal the path more clearly than thinking about it ever will. Planning is valuable, but overplanning can become a form of procrastination disguised as productivity. At some point, you must stop thinking and start doing. History is filled with examples of people who achieved greatness because they acted without waiting for the right moment. Entrepreneurs launched companies during recessions. Writers began their masterpieces in times of personal struggle. Athletes trained under less than ideal circumstances. What they all understood is that conditions don't have to be perfect for progress to happen. Action creates its own conditions. The habit of acting now builds discipline and resilience. Each time you choose to take immediate action rather than postpone, you strengthen your ability to overcome hesitation in the future. You develop a bias toward movement, and this momentum can transform every area of your life. You stop being the kind of person who says, "I wish I had," and start being the kind of person who says, "I'm glad I did." Acting now also sets an example for others. People are inspired by those who move forward despite uncertainty because it reminds them that they can too. Your decision to begin might be the encouragement someone else needs to take their own first step. By moving now, you not only change your own life, you might change someone else's as well. Of course, starting now does not mean you will see instant results. Progress takes time, effort, and persistence. There will be setbacks, and you will need to adapt. But each day you delay is a day you could have been learning, building, and moving closer to your goal. Waiting for perfection is a silent thief. It robs you of the time and energy you could have invested into making your dream real. When you truly understand that there will never be a perfect moment, you realize that this moment, right now, is as perfect as it will ever get. You have what you have, you know what you know, and that is enough to begin. The rest will come with time and effort. Life rewards those who take action, not those who simply wait. So take the step today. Send the email, start the project, make the call, sign up for the class, begin writing the first page. It doesn't matter how small the action is. What matters is that you are moving, because movement creates opportunity, and opportunity is the soil in which dreams grow. The right time to act has always been and will always be now. Living boldly means stepping into life with the courage to take ownership of your journey, to face challenges head on, and to create a story worth telling. It is about becoming the hero of your own story, not waiting for someone else to save you or for life to hand you perfect circumstances, but rising to meet each day with determination, purpose, and the belief that you have the power to shape your destiny. A hero's journey is never easy. It is filled with trials, doubts, and moments when quitting seems tempting. But living boldly means refusing to settle for an ordinary existence when you have the potential for something extraordinary. Becoming the hero of your own story starts with accepting responsibility for your life. It is easy to blame circumstances, other people, or bad luck for where you are. But true heroes understand that while they cannot control everything that happens, they can control how they respond. Every decision you make, every action you take, and every challenge you face becomes part of the narrative that defines you. Heroes don't simply react to life, they actively shape it. They see obstacles not as stop signs, but as opportunities to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Living boldly also means refusing to be defined by fear. Fear is a natural part of any journey, but it is not a reason to stand still. Heroes feel fear just like everyone else, but they choose to act anyway. They understand that bravery is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward in spite of it. Every time you choose courage over comfort, you step deeper into your role as the hero of your own life. You begin to see that fear is often a sign that you are on the edge of something transformative. Choosing to be legendary every day is not about chasing fame or recognition. It is about living in a way that leaves a lasting impact. Legends are not remembered simply for what they achieved, but for how they lived. They inspire others through their actions, their integrity, and their ability to rise when life knocks them down. Being legendary is about showing up with excellence in everything you do, no matter how small the task. It is about treating people with kindness, keeping your word, and refusing to compromise your values for temporary gain. A legendary life is built in the ordinary moments, just as much as in the extraordinary ones. It's easy to think that only grand achievements define a hero, but the truth is, it's the daily choices that matter most. Waking up early to work toward your dream, speaking up when you see injustice, pushing yourself to try again after failure. These are the actions that shape a legacy. Over time, They create a story that others will look to for inspiration. Living boldly also requires embracing discomfort. Growth never happens in the safety of your comfort zone. Heroes understand that discomfort is the price of transformation. They take risks, try new things, and push themselves beyond their perceived limits. This willingness to face the unknown is what allows them to achieve what others only dream of. Every legendary figure in history faced moments of uncertainty and doubt, but they pressed on, trusting that the journey would be worth it. To live boldly, you must also know your why. Heroes have a clear sense of purpose that drives them forward. They are not aimlessly wandering. They are pursuing something that matters deeply to them. This purpose fuels their persistence when the road gets tough. It reminds them that their struggles are not in vain, that every challenge is part of something bigger. When you live with a strong why, you stop living passively and start living intentionally. Being the hero of your story also means you do not wait for the right moment to start. Heroes take action now, knowing that perfect conditions rarely exist. They begin with what they have and trust that they will figure out the rest along the way. Waiting for everything to be ideal only delays the life you are capable of living. The choice to act today, even if it's just one small step, is what separates those who dream from those who become legendary. A hero's journey is not without failure, but living boldly means seeing failure as part of the process. Every setback is a lesson, every misstep a stepping stone toward growth. Legends are not made because they never fail. They are made because they refuse to stay down. They rise again, each time stronger and more determined. This resilience is one of the most defining qualities of a hero. Living boldly also means lifting others as you rise. True legends are not only focused on their own success, they inspire and empower those around them. They understand that part of their purpose is to make a difference in the lives of others, whether through mentorship, encouragement, or acts of service. In this way, their influence extends far beyond their own achievements. To choose to be legendary every day is to wake up with the intention of living fully and authentically. It means not letting fear, doubt, or the opinions of others dictate your path. It means taking risks for the things you believe in, working hard for the dreams you hold dear, and leaving behind a legacy of courage, kindness, and perseverance. At the end of your life, you will not remember the days you played it safe and stayed comfortable. You will remember the times you took a leap, the challenges you overcame, the people you inspired, and the difference you made. Living boldly ensures that when you look back, you will see a life you are proud of, a story that you wrote with courage, purpose, and relentless determination. So step into the role of your own hero. Stop waiting for someone else to give you permission or for life to hand you the perfect opportunity. The choice is yours every single day. Choose courage over comfort. Choose action over hesitation. Choose to live in a way that will be remembered. Live boldly, not someday, but today. And in doing so, become the hero of your own story and the legend of your own life.